So the best way to describe coming to LA is like going to a nightclub, right? You're going to a nightclub, you're getting ready, you're getting dressed, then you step in your car, you get out, and you arrive at the nightclub thinking you're going to have the time of your life. This is going to be great. And then you get there and there's a long line of people waiting to get in, and you have to go wait in the back of the line. And the only way to get in is if you know someone who works at the club, or you know the bouncer or something. So that's kind of like how it is moving to LA. Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually hiking out here in Ascot Hills, which is one of my favorite hiking trails in LA. So in this video, what I want to talk about is, how to survive your first year in LA, because some of the things that I've noticed is that, and I've said this in one of my videos, is that there are a lot of people that move to LA every month. I want to say it's like somewhere close to 60,000 people, and about 80% of those people move back to where they came from within 6 months. And that's because, LA is a very hard place, it's a very difficult place to live in. It's expensive, it can get lonely, all of that. So in this video, I kind of want to give you guys some tips on how to survive your first year in LA. One of the things that I've noticed from people who move out here to LA is that everyone seems to follow the same pattern and the same cycle when they move out here. First of all, there's a level of excitement that happens when you're just packing all of your things and just moving out to Los Angeles, where the weather is great. You can come out here and pursue your dreams. You've been thinking about it for a while, and it's something you've always wanted to do, and now it's finally happening. So there's a level of excitement that happens. And that's usually accompanied by optimism, a lot of optimism. People come out here thinking like, wow, LA is going to be great, things are going to work out. It might not have worked out for some other people, but I'm different. My case is special. I'm driven. I have everything I need. I'm just going to go out there and make it. So that's usually the mindset that most people have when they come out here to LA, is that they're excited and they're very optimistic about what could happen when they move out. Okay, so after all that excitement and all that optimism, you've been in LA for a couple of months or maybe a few weeks even, you start to discover new things about LA, things that you didn't know. A lot of those things are very pleasant, like you discover, wow, LA has great weather all year round, or wow, there are actually like tons of things to do in LA, or there's so many different neighborhoods with different vibes, different personalities, or the food is great. So you start to discover all these cool and awesome things about LA, and that's pretty promising. But what happens after a couple of months is that most people experience some kind of setback, whether that's like a financial setback. For example, LA is very expensive, guys. It's very expensive. If you've lived in New York, it's pretty much comparable to New York. Apartments in New York are a little bit more expensive than LA, but here's the thing. In LA, you have to drive. If you don't drive, you have to Uber. That gets pretty expensive. When you're driving far. You're putting about 20,000 miles in your car every year. When I lived in Chicago, I only put about 10 to 12,000 miles in my car every year. Since I've been in LA, I'm struggling to keep it under 20,000 miles per year. So some people tend to experience some kind of setback when they come to LA, and it's kind of a shock, like, okay, I'm not going to hit the ground running coming to LA, so I need to make some minor adjustments, or maybe I needed to have saved more money than I came with. So that setback does happen, but that's not where people get discouraged. Perfect. Okay, so the part where people get discouraged is usually when reality sets in, where people realize like, oh wow, I'm not actually going to find a job as easy as I thought. There are tons of people that move out here, a lot of people in the same industry as me or applying for the same jobs. Yes, there are a lot of jobs, but yes, there are a lot of people moving to LA. There are a lot of people that are qualified, experienced, all of that. So finding a job is going to be difficult. So try to find a job before you move out here. But so the reality kicks in where people realize that, okay, it's not going to be as easy to find the job that I want, or LA can be a lonely place, because you're in your car most of the time and people don't really interact with strangers as much compared to other cities. The dating life in LA kind of sucks. Another thing is that, you know, there are a lot of people who are flaky. That's why a lot of people from other cities say that, oh, people in LA are so fake, because people tend to flake out a lot. So these things kick in where you realize that LA is not as awesome as you thought it was going to be, and you may or may not survive. So after that, usually tends to come a period of depression. When people are experiencing that period of depression, a lot of people tend to forget or lose focus on the reason that they came out here to LA in the first place. So you have to keep that in mind. Remember why you came out here and focus on that, because that's going to help you get through the difficult times. Around that period, it's either you evolve or you kind of cave in and move back to where you came from. And that's usually where a lot of people fall out, and this usually happens around the 4th to 6th month of living in LA.
Successful people fail a lot. They fail a whole lot more than they succeed. They extract the lessons from the failure, and they use that, the energy, and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success.
So here are some tips, some really important tips to keep in mind for when you move out here on how to survive. The very first tip that I'll tell you guys, and somebody told me this literally my first week of moving here, and thankfully I listened, is to live below your means. That's very important. So for instance, when I lived in Chicago, I lived in a 2-bedroom condo, which was, you know, close to the heart of downtown. Very nice sky-rise building, beautiful. But when I moved out here, I realized that I can't keep that same standard of living in LA, because if I do, I'm going to go broke. So I ended up having to move to a smaller 1-bedroom unit, and because of that, I've been able to save a lot of money, have extra income to travel and do stuff that I like to do to keep my happiness. You gotta live below your means, guys. Live below your means, because you're gonna need extra income to be flexible. You might have to travel. You might have to go a couple of months without a job, or not having the job that you want or the paycheck that you want. So definitely live below your means, because otherwise you're gonna run out of your savings real quick. The next tip I have for you guys is to have realistic expectations. You're not gonna, if you don't have a job moving out here, it might be difficult. You might get lucky and get a job within a week, or it might take you a couple of months. So you have to have realistic expectations. Don't come out here thinking that you're gonna come out here, get discovered, everything is gonna be great, and your career is just gonna take off. It might happen, but be realistic. So the best way to describe coming to LA is like going to a nightclub, right? You're going to a nightclub, you're getting ready, you're getting dressed, then you step in your car, you get out, and you arrive at the nightclub thinking you're gonna have the time of your life, this is gonna be great. And then you get there and there's a long line of people waiting to get in, and you have to go wait in the back of the line. And the only way to get in is if you know someone who works at the club, or you know the bouncer or something. So that's kind of like how it is moving to LA. People get here thinking that they're just gonna go right in, but they don't realize that there's a long line of people that have been here for a while, or been doing what you're doing for a very long time, and they're also trying to catch a break. So sometimes you might have to network or find ways to cut through that line to get in front of that line. So it's very difficult, guys. So it's very challenging. So make sure that you are doing a lot of networking. That's going to be very important for you when you move out here to LA. Also, be prepared to adapt to any situation. Be flexible. So just because one thing doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that that's the end. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Figure out another way to go about it. Next is that you have to have a side hustle. That's going to be very important in terms of having flexible income. Definitely network, and I'll make some videos in the future to show you guys some great networking opportunities. Another important tip is that you should always be prepared for the worst, and that's just general. Whatever situation you're going into, be prepared for the worst, because if you're prepared for the worst, you're not going to face many surprises, and you're going to be ready for whatever life throws at you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit me with a thumbs up. If you have questions about LA, drop a comment down below. If you have other tips, drop a comment as well. Always appreciate you guys. See you guys in my next one.